All right, everybody, we got to talk about this Ben Askren versus Jake Paul fight that just got announced for April 17th. They're going to have a boxing match. And I got to say, man, if you're Jake Paul, this is it's a smart move. There's no way to say this without being disrespectful, but I honestly believe that Ben Askren is one of the worst strikers in the history of MMA. Like when you watch him even just hit pads and stuff, everything's coming from the hips. He's got no flexibility or anything in his shoulder. He's got no snap. None of his punches come from up here. I'm telling you, man, it's people who think Jake Paul doesn't have a legitimate chance in this. You got to realize Ben Askren is a 36-year-old retired mixed martial artist, just recently had hip replacement surgery, and he's won every single one of his bouts in MMA by relying on wrestling. Even fights that are marked as a TKO win or a KO win on his record, they've all stemmed from some sort of ground and pound or wrestling exchange, right? It's like he doesn't have power on his punches. He doesn't have snap to him. He doesn't have good footwork. He doesn't have good head movement. He doesn't have any of the things that would make me confident in him stepping into a boxing ring against someone else. And if you're Jake Paul, like I said, Jake Paul, he knocked a man unconscious. You have to have power in your hands to do that, right? I know Nate, and here's the thing. Nate Robinson lunging in using sloppy technique. I don't think you'll get that sort of stuff from Ben Askren. First off, Ben Askren isn't that fucking athletic. He's not as athletic as Nate Robinson. He's not going to be lunging in with these big explosive shots. I would imagine the game plan from Ben Askren is going to be wear on the arms, turn it into a dirty boxing match, fight in a phone booth, and just kind of beat him up in these sort of clinch situations or whatever, right? And I don't know, man. The dangerous part about that, though, is like I said, Jake Paul has been training exclusively for boxing. He's young. He's fighting a guy who's primarily a wrestler. And if he gets separation and gets a chance to crack, he's gonna have power in his hands, man. And if he's training exclusively for this, the fact that he's young and there are things going for Jake Paul in this fight. And it's smart for him because if he picks up this win, and I think he has a good chance to pick up this win, he's going to be able to say, well, now I beat a UFC fighter. What are you going to say? Regardless of the fact, because the general public doesn't know that Ben Askren is a fucking wrestler. They're just going to see that he's a UFC fighter and be like, oh my God, Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren. He's the best boxer. He's a legitimate boxer. It's nah, he knocked out a fucking wrestler, man, who is notorious for having the worst hands in the UFC. And I think that's Ben Askren's, or in MMA, in definitely, when he was in the UFC roster, maybe the worst hands on the UFC roster. I think, anyway, I want to keep saying how bad his hands are, but man, it's this is a tough fight. And I think Jake Paul is either going to become increasingly more annoying. The entertainment value is definitely going to go up. I mean, it's a smart move from him. Like I said, he gets to say he beat a UFC fighter. But, yeah, man, I don't know. I think Jake Paul has a decent chance to win this fight. And I think you're going to see him become even. I hope Ben wins, by the way. I really do. I hope Ben goes in and wins. But I really believe that Jake Paul has a decent chance to win this fight. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments.